We are recording now. We're having a work session here on broadband initiatives, as stated earlier. With that, colleagues, let me just go ahead and do the formalities, and then we'll go into a roll call and then continue on. We do have a work session going on. We're here in Window Rock, Arizona, on the Navajo Nation. Today's date is Tuesday, May 10th, 2022. The time now is 10:17 a.m. With that, again, today's work session and the agenda, I do have was posted more than 24 hours in advance. Presiding is myself, Seth Damon, Speaker of the 24th Navajo Nation Council. That let's go ahead and go on down with a roll call from there.
Good morning, everybody. Honorable Elmer Begay. Honorable Elmer Begay. Honorable Elmer Begay did not answer roll call. Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr. Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr.
Delegate Kell is present.
Honorable Key Allen Begay Jr. answered roll call. Honorable Paul Begay Jr.
Delegate Paul Begay is present.
Honorable Paul Begay answered roll call. Honorable Nathaniel Brown.
Delegate Brown is present. Cat.
Honorable Nathaniel Brown answered roll call. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton did not answer roll call. Honorable Amber Kanaz Bakrati.
Deja, this is Delegate Amber Kanaz-Bakrati. I'm present. Thank you. Good morning.
Honorable Amber Kanaz Bakrati answered roll call. Honorable Herman Daniels.
Good morning, present.
Honorable Herman Daniels answered roll call. Presiding Chair, Honorable Speaker Seth Damon is present in the chambers. Honorable Mark Freeland.
Present. Good morning.
Honorable Mark Freeland answered roll call. Honorable Pernell Halona. Honorable Pernell Halona. Honorable Pernell Halona did not answer roll call. Honorable Jamie Henio.
Good morning, Delegate Henio present.
Honorable Jamie Henio answered roll call. Honorable Vince James. Honorable Vince James. Honorable Vince James did not answer roll call. Honorable Rick Nez.
Delegate Rick Nez is present.
Honorable Rick Nez answered roll call. Honorable Carl Slater. Honorable Carl Slater. Honorable Carl Slater did not answer roll call. Honorable Carl Slater answered roll call via text. Honorable Raymond Smith Jr.
Present.
Honorable Raymond Smith Jr. answered roll call. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. and did not answer roll call. Honorable Charlene So. Honorable Charlene So.
I'm present.
Honorable Charlene So answered roll call. Honorable Daniel So.
I'm here.
Honorable Daniel So answered roll call. Honorable Eugene So. Honorable Eugene So. Honorable Eugene So did not answer roll call. Honorable Otto So. Honorable Otto So. Honorable Otto So did not answer roll call. Honorable Thomas Walker Jr.
Thomas Walker is present.
Honorable Thomas Walker Jr. answered roll call. Honorable Edison Juanica is present in the chambers. Honorable Edmund Yazi. Honorable Edmund Yazi. Honorable Edmund Yazi did not answer roll call. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair did not answer roll call. Going back up. Honorable Elmer Begay. Honorable Elmer Begay. Honorable Elmer Begay did not answer roll call. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton. Honorable Eugenia Charles Newton did not answer roll call. Honorable Pernell Halona. Honorable Pernell Halona. Honorable Pernell Halona did not answer roll call. Honorable Vince James. Honorable Vince James. Honorable Vince James did not answer roll call. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. Honorable Wilson Stewart Jr. did not answer roll call. Honorable Eugene So. Honorable Eugene So. Honorable Eugene So did not answer roll call. Honorable Otto So. Honorable Otto So. Honorable Otto So did not answer roll call. Honorable Edmund Yazi. Honorable Edmund Yazi. Honorable Edmund Yazi did not answer roll call. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair. Honorable Jimmy Yellowhair did not answer roll call. With that, Honorable Speaker, you have 15 delegates, including yourself, who have answered roll call.
Thank you very much with that, colleagues, for being here with us today. I know that we do have a couple other meetings that are happening too as well. So, Vice Chair Walker, does he respond? All right. I know Vice Chair Walker, he'll be in and out too as well. Good morning. 15.
Speaker Damon, this is Alona, I'm present.
All right. Good morning, Honorable Honor. That makes it 16 members present. That, colleagues, we can continue on down with going on with our invocation, as we did have Honorable Charlene So do the invocation there at the Health Education Human Services Committee this morning. So thank you very much, Honorable Charlene So, for doing the invocation for the day there at the HESI meeting. So with that, let's go on down to item number 2, recognizing guests and visiting officials. Are there any recognizing guests or visiting officials this morning? Going twice on recognizing guests and visiting officials. That, let's go ahead and continue on down then on to item number 3, the work session topics here. Item under 3A is a introduction and purpose of this work session presented by myself, Seth Damon, Speaker of the 24th Navajo Nation Council. Discussions on proposed Navajo Nation Fiscal Recovery Fund broadband expenditure plans pertaining to legislation 0086-22 and legislation 0087-22. I think in the capacity too as well, we're going to be hearing from the presentations, not only specifically for those legislations, but a bigger, broader scope of what the Navajo Nation broadband initiatives are being, how that's being conducted and who's putting that teamwork together, how that's been developed. I think we'll go ahead and get that information. So we're going to hear presentations by the Navajo Nation Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the Navajo Nation, I guess the Broadband Office. That's the first I've seen, and I think that'll be an open discussion to see where that's going at. And then also from the Alliance Group. With that, I know that we do have Mr. Tico Charlie here in the chambers, and Ms. Sonia Nez as well. In the direction, what they're going to do is go ahead and give a presentation. I think we're going to start off with Ms. Joy Thompson first, and then come back to Mr. Charlie. But colleagues, be reminded that in the first portion of the presentation, we'll give the floor to presenters, and then after that, we'll go ahead and open for discussion. There is, I do believe there's a PowerPoint presentation. If you could send that out, Mr. Rico, to all the members of the Naabik'íyáti committee too as well, so we can go ahead and get that down. Colleagues, again, this is information was requested at the last Naabik'íyáti committee to have a further discussion, topic update on what the nation's doing regarding broadband and how that's going to be rolled into items like legislation 0086-22 or legislation 0087-22. So again, thank you everyone for being here this morning, and thank you very much for being on the line. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn this floor over now to the presenters. I do have Mr. Tico Charlie, and then I'll have you go ahead and go from there, Mr. Charlie.
Okay, thank you, Speaker, members of the council and of the Navajo Nation. My name is Tico Charlie. I'm of the Siskalaatni Pat'atni, the Tobaha Tadich clan. I'm the NNTRC Executive Director. And on our presentation here that we have, I would like to have Joy Thompson with the Lions Group go first, and then we go afterwards on there. The reason being, a lot of things on there, there's some stuff on here that I'm going to be asking for an executive session because of the confidentiality for all the service providers, if we can do that.
Mr. Charlie, I have to, well, is the document that is sent to us, is that confidential, the PowerPoint?
The part of the PowerPoint is, yes.
Okay, because if we put the portion, I guess, are you going to share the
PowerPoint with the delegates,
okay,
yes.
yeah, if you I mean, if you share it on your screen, and then
Yes.
from there, it will give you more of a guidance to know which is not to be shared, and if there is plans to go into executive session. Colleagues, I'm gonna have to get for the guidance, but we'll get that information to everyone. But usually I can't get a motion or a second while we're in session here because this is a work session. So as much information as you can give, Mr. Charlie, because we're unable to go into executive session at this time. So the floor is yours.
Can we go ahead and have Joy Thompson with the Alliance Group go first?
Yes, go ahead. Ms.
Joy,
Thompson?
are you online?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, Ms. Thompson, the floor is yours.
I do
morning.
have a presentation that I sent to Mr. Rico. I don't know if I am going to share it or if he is going to share it.
You can go ahead and share it,
Okay.
Ms. Thompson.
Okay, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, this is relating to a document that's dated May 10th, 2022, correct?
Yes.
Okay, yes, we can. Floor is yours, Ms. Thompson.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker Damon and honorable delegates of the 24th Navajo Nation Council. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to present what the Alliance is recommending to the council. We know that there are two legislations that are before you, and one is specifically for equal distribution to the different regions, and that the other does have a specific fund that is designated for broadband. And so looking at both of those legislations, we came up with specific recommendation. First of all, I want to introduce the Alliance to you. The Alliance for Navajo Broadband is an association. It's an organization that is a nonprofit. It was founded by NTU, Diné College, and the ETCs serving the Navajo Nation. Our mission is to advocate for broadband on the Navajo Reservation for the Navajo people through collaboration. Our principles are to continue the longstanding partnerships with the Navajo Nation, develop healthy competition through collaboration, and inform and educate Navajo entities and leadership on broadband. And specifically, our objectives are to increase the capacity and improve performance for the best internet reliability. We would like to see extension of coverage for accessibility. We want to promote greater broadband competition and increase the affordability. And to do that, what we feel needs to happen is that the network diversity has to be enhanced so that there is redundancy, resiliency, and extendability. So a little bit about broadband. technology, I think that there might be a little bit of confusion, and there has been some discussion that we've had. And I thought that it would be good to distinguish the two types of broadband technology. These can both be used for middle mile and last mile. Of course, there's fiber, and I think that everyone is familiar with fiber, that it has to be a cable, and that the cable is either buried or is overhead. And this tends to be a little bit, well, it tends to be more expensive for extending broadband. And you also have to have fiber connected to towers. So wherever you have towers, you must have a level of broadband connected to it. Now, these types of technologies don't operate on their own. They need to have access to the sources of the internet. And there's only a limited amount of internet that comes onto the reservation. So that needs to be built upon, and that capacity needs to be built. These technologies can have the performance level that is needed to reach all of the ends of the reservation. Because the reservation is 27,000 square miles, we see that it would be more advantageous for the nation to look at the entire reservation and build strategically so that they have the capacity that is needed to deliver broadband to the endpoints. These are just some examples of wireless technology where it can be point to point and fixed. And it also drives the internet capabilities on laptops, smartphones, and tablets. And of course, the fiber infrastructure is necessary in order to make the wireless, to drive the wireless. So a combination of these technologies is needed, but it also needs to be understood that underneath or at a higher level, there needs to be network technology, network equipment, network systems to drive the services or drive the speeds down to the endpoints. So just to be looking at towers or just to be looking at fiber is something that we feel the strategy needs to get away from. It needs to be a strategy, an overall strategy that delivers the performance, the reliability, the diversity of the access to the different areas of the reservation. So what we are recommending is a collaborative approach. We feel that there needs to be a strategy designed for the entire reservation. And to have the greatest and lasting impact on the Navajo reservation, just to run lines out to different locations. It may provide internet to more people, but it won't have that lasting impact that we feel that this type of funding could have. We need to address all different sectors, education, public safety, telehealth, home internet access, and economic development. And what needs to be some sort of outreach to the different areas to include these capacities and these uses through stakeholders. There are a lot of entities on the reservation that have some very, very high level technical people that work with them. And these technical people have been providing input in an isolated way. And our approach would be to bring these technical people on the reservation together to help to design this overall strategy. And then the funds can be allocated to those priorities to build the infrastructure and with equitable distribution. And it will enhance the mobile and fixed broadband, the entire ecosystem. So our recommendation is to change the mindset. Instead of looking at the view from the way that broadband has been distributed throughout the nation, let's look at it as a nation and look from a higher point of view to solve more problems. So we have 7 points on this legislation that we would like to drive home. First of all, the Alliance for Navajo Broadband supports the Broadband Office and its mission to develop a Navajo Nation broadband plan to address the needs of all 110 chapters. We have been working with the Broadband Office, and we have been talking to them directly. We, through our membership, have been able to respond and turn around very quickly information that has been delivered to the Broadband Office. And we expect that to continue as we move forward. Since we have access to those individuals and we can work with them more quickly, instead of having the Broadband Office contact individual carriers separately, we can do that for them. We can also participate in the outreach to the 110 chapters and assist them in that way. We've been standing alongside them in different meetings to understand what their plan is and how it will develop. And I must say that we did have a meeting, a broadband meeting last week that was put on by the Broadband Office and the NNTRC. And it was a very good meeting. It was very informative. And we do realize through that presentation that the Broadband Office does have the capability to bring and coordinate all of these entities to develop this strategic plan. The plan must include maps showing unserved and underserved communities and the quality of service in different regions. This is very necessary in order to bring in the proper engineering to be able to identify those areas that should be high priority to, and to also raise the capacity that needs to be there to be delivered to the endpoints. The Navajo Nation Broadband Plan will assure that there is not simply an equal distribution of funds, but an equal distribution of benefits to the unserved and the underserved communities. The Broadband Office has the technical expertise necessary to conduct assessments, to assist chapters and delegates to identify needs and priorities and how to best extend broadband to their residents. Now, the Broadband Office has been planning and we do support the kind of plan that they have, but without knowing which legislation and how legislation is going to go forward, they are actually planning in parallel 2 different options. that we can see, which we support. Our approach would be to like legislation 87-22, appropriate a certain amount of funding directly to the broadband office so that they can administrate the funds, they can administrate the projects, and they can actually oversee the technical aspect of these projects. We also understand that it will take several providers working together to address the needs and provide consumer choice for both fixed and mobile broadband services for the Navajo people. We are specifically advocating for consumer choice because historically we have felt that, and I work for Diné College as well. We have felt the impact of the high cost of broadband to entities like the college. I know that the way the college operates and with all of their satellite offices, that it is typical of different departments that have to perform the same kind of services, that have to network with different parts of the reservation to be able to support all of their staff and all of their services at different areas. And so we know that there are providers that have a competitive nature, and we want to see that competition from all of the providers to be able to allow these users, not just individual consumers, but entities like the colleges, so that we have choice. We have instances where over the past, the college had been paying $60 per megabyte per month.
Hello? Oh, sorry.
And $60 per meg per month is a very, very high cost to pay when you're using 1,000 megs or 1 gig. That is a huge cost to bear, and it makes it unsustainable for any entity to be able to acquire the amount of broadband that they need. So we know that several providers have to work together or have to provide services to all areas in order to accomplish a system that covers all of our areas. And ARPA is just a beginning. It's just the first step in organizing this broadband office to be able to manage all of these projects, to follow their plan, is what the nation needs to most effectively use the broadband monies. The broadband office will assure that projects are bid to the most qualified providers in a competitive and fair manner, consistent with the Navajo procurement laws and regulations. They will also be able to follow their plan and be able to roll out the strategies, bring the capacity, bring the diversity of routes onto the reservation, which is where it is most needed. We are promoting broadband competition. It will lead to lower prices, and what's most important is the higher quality of service. I do hear often those stories of broadband being extended to different areas, and when the user starts using it, they're disappointed. They get disconnected. It's unreliable, and they aren't able to use it in a consistent way. But when we acquire higher quality of service, higher capacity, then that drives the performance up. And that's what we need to use a lot of this funding for. That is that is my presentation. I also want to make another point that was not on my presentation, but over the past several months, we have been hearing from different entities, and one of them has been from the carriers and all of the service providers, the people that construct fiber, is that and put up towers, is that the ROW process is difficult, and our recommendation would be to use some of the administrative funding to provide or add resources to streamline the process for fiber and have an individual focused on fiber right-of-way approvals. The other area that I wanted to mention as well is that we want to see the nation operate like the states around us have been operating. And they have built their operations and developed their broadband offices. New Mexico has an office, Arizona has an office, Utah has an office, and the Navajo Nation can use their operations plans as a basis to develop one for the Navajo Nation, which would be a long-lasting solution to these issues and be able to manage all of those funds that are going forward and that will be coming, because there will be additional funds from state and from federal. So that's all that I wanted to present this morning. And I thank you all for listening, and I will turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Joy. And speakers, members of the 24 Council. This next presentation, I'll be doing a quick executive summary.
Okay. Go ahead, Tico. Floor is yours.
Okay, can you see that?
Yes, we can now.
Okay, a brief portion on this as I came in. I've only been with the NNTRC a little over a month or so. And during this thing, we came up with an executive session portion on here. It says, during the COVID crisis, internet providers on the Navajo Nations have been making efforts to help the Navajo Nation residents get online and stay connected. And the information below is a complication of the broadband. Okay, broadband access has become a modern day necessity. As you heard in today's news, I believe it was President Biden this morning or yesterday pretty much said the internet is not a luxury anymore, it's a necessity. And the spread of COVID-19 and their insurance closure of schools and workplace, broadband is a fundamental human right. Essentials in time like this, it wasn't clear before this crisis. Now it's crystal clear that broadband is a necessity of every aspect of modern civil and commercial life. Policymakers need to treat it that way. Most chapters and rural community residents do not have physical access to broadband, and even more cannot afford it or are reliant on mobile plans and data limits. This makes remote schooling and work prohibitively expensive at best and simply not an option at worst. As you heard from Joy also, a reliable high-speed internet, has become a staple of the 21st century for Americans across the country. Healthcare, education, entertainment, public safety, entrepreneurs, agriculture, and many other industries are increasingly dependent on broadband. And while over 99% of the population, urban areas have access to broadband service and meeting 25.3 millibyte speeds threshold, now that has changed to 120. Only approximately 65% of population on rural tribal land has the same access at the end of, this was in 2019, insufficient service on tribal lands, and not only inhibits individual across access to education, healthcare, economic resources, but also impedes tribal efforts to achieve self-government and self-determination. Okay, over the 25 years, communication has evolved. Prominently, providers of voice services into diverse, competitive, and interconnect industry using terrestrial satellite, wireless transmission system. These are pretty much what's going on right now. Every time you go out, there's always new changes that's going on. One of the things we're looking at is Navajo Nation Broadband implements a competitive process among service providers to keep broadband service costs low. You heard Joy say that earlier with broadband competitiveness. And this is needed for the budget purposes. We all know how the increase of economics is going up in the whole United States. Challenges for service stability on Navajo lands requires an increased coordination between Navajo Nation government and communication providers. This is one of the reasons why we had met last Wednesday. And it was to get a better understanding what each service provider was doing and how they were coordinating a lot of stuff with each other and the Navajo Nation. Providers must communicate their intent on Navajo land, for example, by giving detailed information on intended network build, intended network expansion on the service that they are delivering. This information shall include any bill out or deployment that occurs on Navajo land or would affect services to Navajo people. This little portion on there is why I wanted to go into the executive portion to show you where a lot of these places that we're looking at here. Of course, everywhere it's right away. The current land use system and general lease and regulations impede the expansion of network to increase coverage and capacity. The current general lease and regulation restricts the ability to build out on existing building site leases. This is what we're working on right now, but a little bit later on down the line, Mr. Tom Patero will be given a little bit update on that, how we're working together with that. And each land status type, whether it's a home site lease, state land, PLO land, BIA land, BLM land, private land, allotted land, have multiple layers of process to permitting right-of-way. Service providers must understand and abide by relevant rights of right-of-way regulation and permitting and review process that include chapter resolutions, address environmental, historical preservation, and culture-sensitive areas on Navajo land. This is where we need to sit down with the service provider and let them know ahead of time what they're dealing with and to follow the process. Establishing a utility corridor would streamline the right-of-way approval because we're all duplicating everything on there. Well, we shouldn't be doing that. We should be working together. The Navajo Nation Broadband Office developed long and short range plans to advance affordable broadband initiative for the Navajo Nation. Develop Navajo Nation broad laws, regulation, policy, and procedures. We are going through that right now. Develop stability plan on broadband service. This is also in our plan. ensure that all levels of education, institute, college, university, high school, junior high school, elementary school, et cetera, are all integral parts of the Navajo Nation broadband process. Identify all internet access barriers and identity solutions. Serves as a resource for Navajo Nation 3-branch arch leadership in full understanding and comprehensive broadband concept. That means bring everybody up to date. This next one we did a survey structured by owner. And this one here, basically will let you see how many is out there. There could be less, could be more. We're still going through the process right now. NTUA has 301 towers out there. Cellular One has 71. Navajo Communication has 66, which is Frontier. Sacred Wind has 16. American Tower Corporation has 12. Navajo Nation has 12. ComNet Four Corners has 11. Arizona Public Service Company has 10. The El Paso Natural Gas Company has 9. Verizon Wireless has 9. BIA has 8. Crown Castle has 8. Vertical Bridge has 7. WAPA has 6. The Navajo Nation Telecommunication Utility, NNTU, has 5. Navajo Technical University has 5. Chapter House has 4. Resolute Natural Resource Company has 4. Transwestern Pipeline has 4. BNSF Railroad has 3. KOB TV has 3. The Navajo Nation PD has 3. Peabody Western Coal Company has 3. Questar's 3. Western Indian Ministry has 3. These are just the basic structures that are out there right now. This next one here is just a basic outline of fiber on the Navajo Nation. We haven't updated this yet. I'm going through that. Also in updating all the fiber across the Navajo Nation here. You see the different colors. You have Frontier Fiber, Hopi Fiber, NTUA Fiber, Sacred Winds Fiber, Tri-State PNM Fiber. And we haven't gone out to the little service areas yet. And this next one, I would like to see if we can go into an executive session here.
What? Okay, colleagues, at this time, there's a request by Mr. Tico Charlie to go into executive session. If there's no objections, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and jump off, and we'll have an executive session no longer than how much time is
15 minutes.
15 minutes altogether for a half hour. If there's any further comments or questions in there, I'm not going to take a vote. It's just if you want to jump off, there'll be a line that'll be available for the executive session line that Mr. Rico is going to send out right now. Colleagues, I don't know if there's any objections.
Speaker, this is Delegate Crotty.
Yes, Madam Chair, Crotty.
Thank you, Speaker. I don't have any objections. I just need to know from Mr. Tico, so this executive session, just to state for the record why an executive session is required, and then beyond delegates, who should be on the call. Speaker, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Charlie, what is the reason why?
The reason why I want to go into executive session is to ensure the confidentiality of all the service providers that also share these maps, because we are still going through these, and we want to ensure the confidentiality of.
So it's a confidentiality of these, of the maps that are going to be presented to the Navajo committee members. And with that, I guess it'd be just delegates and staff from Office of Legislative Council, or who else? And who? And Department of Justice? And anyone else? The presenters that are listed on here? On the agenda?
Yes.
Okay. So the presenters that are listed on here, Department of Justice. I don't know if there's anybody on from Department of Justice, but Mr. Rico's gonna be sending out okay, well, send it to Mr. Rodas. If there's anybody else that's wanting to listen in, Mr. Rodas, you and your team have the information. So this time, colleagues, there is an email that's been sent out just now by Mr. Manuel Rico to jump off and jump onto an executive session line. So we can hear from Mr. Chico Charlie on some of the maps that's confidential. And the individuals, again, that are going to be on the line is members of the Naabik'íyáti Committee, Office of Legislative Council, Office of Legislative, our Department of Justice, and the 4 individuals are listed on the presenter, which is Tico Charlie, Sonny Nez, Tom Patero, and Joy Thompson. So with that, colleagues, and this will be no longer than 30 minutes. Time now is 11:08. Jump back on at 11:40. Back on to regular work session. Hi, colleagues, we're jumping off.